welcome to Mobility Prosthetics YouTube. So today we want to talk about why we use scanning technology. So in prosthetics, there are a lot of ways to get to the end goal, which is to get you a socket that fits well and a socket that's functional, that's comfortable, that you can do the things you need to do. And so, typically the last 60 years, it's been casting with a plaster, a plaster cast. So you would stand and be holding onto a parallel bar or whatever, and your prosthetist would wrap you in a plaster cast, and then that would give a shape of your limb, and then they would fill that cast with plaster and then create a positive model. And that's great. That's still done today all over the place, and it is tried and true for sure. And so that is kind of the way it's been done for a long time. Now with the advancement of technology, 3D printing and things like that, we can use what we call, or what is called, we didn't come up with scanning, but scanning is a technology where we could come into your house, we could come into your work, wherever you are, or you come into our office, and instead of having to have you stand up and hold on to a parallel bar and cover the ground in paper so we don't get plaster everywhere, everything like that, we use a scanner. So a lot of us now can do it even on our iPhones or on a tablet. And so we'll just have you sit in a comfortable position. We'll take our scanner and run that around your limb. And then that gives us the shape of your limb, and it gives us all of the contours and everything that we need. And so the difference between the two is really, just old school versus new school. One is really modifying, like what prosthetists do and what makes them good is how they modify your socket. So whether they took a plaster cast and did it a standard way, or they do a scan, every prosthetist will go back, and if it's a plaster model, if they did it the traditional way, they'll go back into their workshop and they'll start carving away from that plaster model where they want things to be tight, where they want to add a little bit of space, they'll add plaster. And so it's kind of like sculpting, right? Prosthetists really are artists in a lot of ways, and they're sculpting these limbs out to make sure that it gets what you want. And so with scanning, we do that too. We just do it all through a CAD program on a computer. And so, we get your scan, and then we go onto our computer, and it gives us a digital model of your leg. And then from that, we can overlay the two models. So if we modify your model all the way through, then we can overlay it over your original scan, and that will show, did we get to modify it exactly how we wanted to, or do we want to add a little more, take a little more out? So that's one benefit, is that we can overlay and really see, like, did we get it how we wanted it to? But then on top of that, again, it depends on the prosthetist. If the prosthetist is good at modifying through CAD, then the end result shouldn't be any different from a good prosthetist modifying on a plaster model. And so our guys, like, we've had 4 practitioners, they all are very skilled at modifying through CAD, and I've been able to witness them do it. I've been able to witness their fittings, and they always make solid adjustments. And so another benefit of scanning is, say, you get fitted for your first leg, and then 6 months out, you have shrunk a ton. You've just come down in volume, and so you need to be refitted again. And then in that case, it's easy for us to, we have this old scan, we can overlay them and see, do we need to change? Do we even need to take another scan? Do we need to do another cast? But then on top of that, we also have more justification to go to the insurance. So we can show the insurance, hey, listen, Joe Blow, he was here 6 months ago. Look at where his scan was now. Look at where it is now. And we can kind of prove, and as you become a patient longer and have more and more scans, like I've been an amputee for 11 years, I've got digital representations of how I've changed throughout the last 5 years. So then it's easier for me to go to an insurance and say, hey, look at all the differences I've gone through. Look at where I am now compared to where I was when I got fitted in this thing a year ago. Look at where I was 2 years before that. And it helps give a little bit easier justification. So the difference between the two, as far as like the end result, there isn't one. As long as your prosthetist, knows what he's doing and is good at either casting and modifying the traditional way with plaster, or modifying through CAD. The end goal should be the same to you. The end result should be the same. You shouldn't notice a difference in the socket that you get, What you will notice a difference in is, again, the process of how did you get casted. You know, sometimes I've been casted both ways plenty of times, and you know, sometimes a little bit, you're standing a little bit on one leg for a long time or whatever it is, and that's not doable for everyone. And so we utilize scanning because we are doing appointments in patients' homes a lot of the time, and so it allows us to come into your home and not make a mess, but also be able to do it in a way that you're comfortable, whether that's sitting on your couch or laying in your bed or whatever it is. And then also we use it because, again, it gives us a little bit more justification with insurances, but also it's kind of the way the field is moving. A lot of companies weren't really scanning 5 years ago, and now a lot of companies are starting to move into scanning, and the technology is getting better and it's improving all of the time. And so really another 5 years from now, I think most prosthetic companies will be scanning in one way or another and using scan technology and 3D print technology. But we've just been trying to utilize it from the beginning as long as we've been around. And so, you know, those reasons, like I was explaining, are the reasons why. Again, I don't think that one is really better than the other. I think that, again, it comes down to the prosthetist and the person fitting you and your needs and what you need. And if you like, you know, if you like having someone put their hands on and you know, shave plaster down with a Surform and all that, then more power to you. There's plenty of opportunity for that. But we utilize scanning because it makes our job a little bit easier, especially once we learned the technology and understood the technology, and now we understand it very well. But also it makes the experience better for you as the patient. It just kind of is a little bit easier, a little bit quicker, a little bit simpler. So that's the difference between scanning and casting. We're always open to questions. If anybody has a question about scanning or cast, send a text to my email, or send an email to my email, and I'll get back to you for sure. Thanks, we'll see you next time.